So we are beginning today our Open Innovation Thursdays conversation. First, let me tell you that we are doing the last chapter of the first page of the index, which is a milestone, chapter number 7. We are talking today aligning mechanisms with project attributes with Mehdi Bagherzadeh. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Fantastic pronunciation.
Welcome, Mehdi. How are you today?
Well, hi, Marisol. Very nice to see you first after our last chat in Bilbao during the fantastic World of Innovation Conference. I really enjoyed. So thank you so much for having this great OI Thursday. And it's lovely to be here and discuss with you about chapter number 7. So I'm so good, and I'm here to have a great conversation with you.
Thank you very much, Mehdi. You are connecting all the way from France today. And This is amazing because one thing we learned in the first chapters with Agnieszka and with Henry, this is a global book. No, in itself is an exercise of open innovation. So I always like to begin the conversation having an introduction with our guest in case somebody doesn't know you. So can you tell us a little bit about you, how you came to work in open innovation?
Sure. My name is Mehdi. At the moment, I'm an associate professor of innovation management at Neoma Business School in France. And at the same time, I'm the head of Department of Strategy and Entrepreneurship. So doing some admin stuff as well in academia. A little bit about my background. I'm an industrial engineer. I did my bachelor degree in industrial engineering. And after that, I did MBA. And finally, I decided, to do my PhD. And I got my PhD at ESADE Business School in Barcelona.
That's when I met you. In Barcelona, I met you.
Exactly. It was the first time, we met each other, right? In a very nice seminars that we used to have at ESADE around open innovation managed by Henry Chesbroek and Wim van Haverbeek for PhD candidates, right? So actually, I started, to know about open innovation, collaborative innovation, especially with this term at ESADE, mainly because maybe I'm sure you know, and many people they know that ESADE is pretty active, in open innovation, collaborative innovation. And at the time, Henry was visiting us, Wim was visiting us. On my shock, my supervisor, she was visiting us at ESADE. So I got to know about this term, during my first year of PhD at ESADE. But I always liked to work about collaboration. So I didn't use the term open innovation, but I was always interested in understanding how firms can collaborate, source ideas from outsiders to accelerate their innovation process. So this is the very short, introduction about myself and why I started to work on openness.
This is very interesting, and I feel very reflected in your story. I myself, I'm also an industrial engineer, and I think this vision of process and projects is very natural to open innovation, and we will talk a little bit about this. How come you came to write a chapter of the book?
Wow, fantastic. First, let me show you my book.
Hey.
I'm really happy that I have it. I received it a few weeks ago, and I really like it. I have it in my office. I think it was one day very late in the evening, I received a text in WhatsApp from my great friend and also mentor, Wim van Haverbeek. And he told me that, we really like to invite you to write a chapter, in our handbook. And they asked me to write something at the project level. And it was really, a great hit because they know that, I work mainly at the project level. We can discuss about that why. And then, quickly I accepted. I thought, wow, it would be a great pleasure for me, to write this chapter. And I invited my great co-author, Andrei Gorka, who is a senior lecturer at Queen's University in Belfast. And he accepted quickly as well because we have several projects together, and he's one of my best co-authors, by the way. So yeah, we decided, to write this, that's why we have this chapter now, and I'm really grateful to the entire editorial teams of this handbook to invite us to write.
This is amazing, and well, a shout out to Andre. I wish to meet him and also talk with him one day. But in the meantime, let's dig into the chapter. The title is Aligning Mechanisms and Project with Project Attributes. This is your project. What is it about?
Well, great. So actually, the entire chapter is based on different projects that I did with my co-authors over the last, let's say, 5, 6, 7 years. And we wrote this chapter based on some empirical insights that we found from data that we collected ourselves. And the chapter is about, okay, when you want to engage in openness, we have different mechanisms. How we should select the right mechanism. It's the entire story of this chapter. So how we can select the right mechanism. Because we have different mechanisms.
What are the mechanisms that we have?
Yeah. So, in this chapter, of course, we have different mechanisms, but in this chapter, to make it simple, we have two main categories, crowdsourcing and then partnerships, right? Like strategic alliances, equity-based partnerships, non-equity-based partnerships. So we talk about these two main categories.
So it's like the difference of many contributors versus one main partnership or alliance, so to speak?
Yeah, to somehow, yes. So actually, when we talk about crowdsourcing, we refer to an open call to the big crowd potentially interested in the problem that we have in our hands, in order to encourage them, to share their ideas with us. Whenever we talk about partnerships, we refer to a classic cooperation between, the focal firm and other companies, right? It can be at dyadic level. It can be even at the network level as well.
And you are discussing mechanisms to analyze this for a project at project level. We were discussing before that the previous chapter was at a person level, no? So there's an evolution and a connection here.
Yeah, actually, I really enjoyed, listening, to the playback of your conversation with Eamon Salter. So I'm really happy that my chapter is coming, after, their chapter. So yeah, chapter 6 is mainly focusing on what's going on at the individual levels, right? At the end of the day, in the daily life of companies, right? Individuals should manage the openness, process. So in this chapter, our main discussion is that, okay, so all main activities, innovation-related activities, they happen at project levels. I haven't seen any single company saying that we manage innovation at the firm level. They have different innovation projects. Exactly. So they have different innovation projects with different needs, and they make decision about each project based on the needs of that project. So this is the main argument of the chapter. So each project has its own attributes, its own needs. So we need to make sure that, whenever we want to open up, we select the right mechanism, right, for that project.
And you have a very practical diagram. Here we have it. It's figure number 7.1, no? With a decision-making element. And I like this a lot because it's very hands-on for practitioners. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, actually that figure that you rightly mentioned is the summary of the chapter. So especially for practitioners that I know they are very busy, right? And maybe they don't like, to read the entire chapter. That's why we have included that decision-making framework. So based on that framework, managers can decide to go for partnership or crowdsourcing at the first stage. Based on what? Based on the nature of the project. The project is complex or the project is simple. So this is the first stage of decision making. If the project is a complex project, right, our argument and our empirical insight is that they need to go for partnerships. But if the project is simple, they can go for crowdsourcing.
Yeah, and that's something very, as you say, like a summary of a very interesting dynamic within the firm to decide how to collaborate with others and what are the right mechanisms to activate this collaboration, no, and unblock the potential next steps.
Exactly. So, after making decision about, okay, we need to go for partnerships or crowdsourcing, the next stage is what type of partnership and what type of crowdsourcing. Because we have different types of partnerships, equity-based partnerships like joint ventures, M&A, minor equity, right? Or non-equity partnerships like strategic alliances, right? The same for crowdsourcing. Which type of crowdsourcing we should go for it? We should go for an open call and invite everyone to participate, or we should go and hunt the right people and ask them to collaborate with us. So we have different mechanisms right here. So our suggestion here is that we need to think about another attributes of the project. So this is the second stage that we have included in our decision-making tree.
This is very, very interesting, Mehdi, and I think also like a reflection that this is at project level, and in a firm you might have different projects with different strategies co-living at the same time, no? And you can evolve from one to the other, and that's also a very interesting element. You told me before that you have here related many different papers and previous research and projects. So I would be more than happy later on to share some of these papers, because I think it's also interesting to dig into the literature around different ways to analyze projects and the experiments, no, like different cases in real life.
Exactly. So here I like to make something very clear. We don't have many studies at project level, but we have very nice studies conducted by, many of my colleagues, right? For example, Wim has a very nice paper in 2014 in Research Policy. I think it's one of the really nice papers at the project level. So here, let me make something very clear. I'm not saying that, what we are doing is new, but we don't have enough studies at the project level in the field of open innovation. And I strongly believe that if we want to have a better understanding about, the openness, how we should manage openness, we should study more this phenomenon at the project level. And why? Because we have different projects. Each project has its own needs, has its own attributes. And if we don't select the right way to manage those projects, maybe it's one of the main reasons some of the projects, they are not successful.
That's true. And I think it also addresses one of the main worries of firms and organization, which is, I don't want to begin maybe doing big decisions on open innovation. So by addressing it at project level, you also somehow fragment that big issue that companies have in their head, no? And so I think it's very relevant to work.
Exactly. Yeah, very good point, Marisol. Thank you so much for raising this. It's exactly, the point, right? This is something that can happen before starting the project, because we know the characteristics of our project. Based on these characteristics, managers can make decision how to manage that project. In this chapter, we mainly focus on how to find the right mechanism for openness. And we believe that having this decision before starting the project has a big impact later, how to manage the resources in the project and increase the probability of, success in that project. So it doesn't cost a lot because they can make a decision at the beginning of the project, and it's not very difficult decision because they know their projects, they know the characteristics, and they know that each mechanism has its own benefits and costs. So the rational way is, okay, let's pick the right mechanism.
That's marvelous. And it's a very good way to close the chapter. I don't know if you want to give a final thought, a call to action or recommendation.
Yeah. First of all, again, thank you so much for having me today. I think it was a great opportunity for me to share some ideas. My not really a recommendation, but I strongly encourage both academic people and also practitioners to think about their projects when they wanna open up and collaborate. I think at the firm level, I think they really need to think about the characteristics of their project when they want to make decision about openness. And I think in academia, we need to allocate more time and collect data at the project level. I strongly believe that in this way, we can explain and understand openness and collaboration much better.
This is very, very interesting, Mehdi. By the way, I will keep talking with you because I have some dynamics and working at project level, and I think this is a very nice conversation to have. Thank you very much for your time today. I wish we had 15 hours and not 15 minutes, but thank you for this bite-sized conversation on open innovation and the Oxford Handbook of Open Innovation. Thank you for connecting.
Thank you so much, Marisol. Again, and thank you so much, to the editors of the book. I think they have done a great job, and I think it's a really nice collection.
Put it closer to because it blurs with the now we see it. Perfect. This is the book. We have the picture. Thank you very much, Mehdi. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.